Hey, I'm Audra Yankton, empowerment and intuition coach, and this is Unveil You, the podcast where spirituality meets practicality to help you step fully into your power. Each episode, we'll talk about what it really means to align with your higher self, trust your inner knowing, and walk through life with grounded, soul-led confidence. Let's get into it. Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome back to the Unveil You Podcast. I'm your host, Audra, and today's episode is for a very specific kind of listener. And if you're here and this is the type of podcast that you listen to, then it more than likely will definitely be applying to you. So this is an episode for someone who feels things before they're said. You might notice shifts in energy the moment you walk into a room, or you feel like you can sense the energy. The minute you walk into a room, you can read that. You can also tell when something is off, even if everyone else in the room seems fine. And at some point in your life, either you or someone else put a name to that, which is an empath. But here's what I want to say right at the beginning, is that being an empath is not about being fragile, contrary to maybe what you've been told in your life. It's not about being overwhelmed, and it is not a flaw that you're meant to manage or shrink. Being an empath is a natural extension of your intuition, which, as we know, is a very natural thing that we all have access to. It's the ability to perceive energy, both emotional, subtle, and also relational, before it takes form in words or actions. And most empaths don't learn this, they just remember it. And the reason this topic matters so much is because so many intuitive, empathetic people end up exhausted, confused, or even burned out. Not because their gift is too much, but because no one ever taught them how to work with the energy in a conscious way. So today we're reclaiming this. This is also a very timely episode, as I want to address probably something a lot of us have been feeling ever since the Epstein files have been released, and so many horrible things have been revealed from those files. So whether you've been following that story closely or not, there has definitely been a noticeable shift in the collective emotional field, which you've probably sensed, right? There's a lot of anger, there's disgust, there's betrayal, there's confusion, there's just all kinds of heaviness that feels almost atmospheric. And here's the thing about being empathic is that you don't actually have to be consuming the news to feel that. Some of us, I don't really watch a lot of news, but I can still feel it, for example. So, and if you are somebody that's empathic and you watch the news every day, oh my gosh, I bet you can just feel the heaviness all the time. So this is definitely, in this episode, we're going to be talking about how to be protecting your energy too as we go along. So, you know, it's that energy that now in the collective, you can walk into a grocery store and feel it. You can scroll social media for just 30 seconds and feel it. You can wake up in the morning already carrying a weight that you can't logically trace back to your own life. And it might be even disrupting your sleep patterns. Maybe you're waking up a lot all throughout the night, or you just can't even fall asleep to begin with. So that's what's happening for a lot of empathetic people right now. There is a collective surge of intense emotional energy that's moving through the collective energy field. And if your system is naturally receptive, you might be absorbing it without even realizing it. So that is what I mean when later on I'm going to be talking about energy leaks, is that an empath doesn't just respond to individual people, they can also respond to collective waves. So when something destabilizing or emotionally charged enters public awareness, such as these files, for example, one of the biggest, shocking things of our generation for sure, it creates a ripple in the energetic field. And if your boundaries are not intentional, your energetic boundaries, your system may interpret that ripple as something you need to process, hold, or carry. But here's the good news. You do not have to be responsible for that energy. Just because you can feel it does not mean it belongs to you. And this is where grounding and containment are going to become essential things. So not to shut down your compassion, but to prevent your nervous system and your energy body from taking on what is not yours to metabolize. So with that, today we're talking about what being an empath actually means, how energy really works for intuitive people, and most importantly, how to protect your energy, especially during this difficult time in the collective without closing your heart. So what is an empath actually? We've heard the term empathy. We all know that means to basically be able to envision yourself in other people's shoes, right? That's what being empathetic can be, or having empathy for somebody. But an empath is actually kind of more of a human embodiment of that. So an empath is someone whose energetic field is naturally receptive, especially to emotions. So have you ever cried with your friend when they're going through something, for example? That's just an extreme example of empathy, right? But it's the reason you're feeling that is because you are naturally empathic. So not everybody is born that way, but again, a lot of people who are in tune with their intuition, it just kind of goes hand in hand. Like you will become more empathic the more unity consciousness that you start to identify with. So if that doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. Just if that does make sense to you, though, maybe that will click for you. But yeah, you start to like see everybody as one, and you really just want the best for everybody, because ultimately that's what you want for yourself as well. So kind of as you are going down this journey of spiritual awakening and going more towards unity consciousness, becoming an empathetic being is just naturally going to become part of your life. So it means that you don't just understand emotions on an intellectual level, you actually feel the energy in your body. So you might feel it in your chest or your gut or your throat. If you walk in a room and it's really anxious, or maybe you just walked in a room and I don't know, maybe everybody just got really, really bad news. You have no idea what the news is, but you know something is really, really wrong. That's being an empath, right? You can feel the energy even though you have zero context of what's happening. You might even notice it as a pressure, warmth, heaviness, or a subtle knowing. You might even just tear up and cry and you don't know why. So again, empaths are often deeply intuitive. Like I said, the more you are developing your intuition, the more this is going to come to you. They are emotionally intelligent. They are compassionate without effort, and they are highly aware of what is happening beneath the surface, even if nobody tells them what's happening. So the sensitivity is not random. Empaths are often here in this on this planet, in this incarnation, to feel truth before it's even visible. They bring awareness into unconscious spaces, and they soften, heal, or stabilize energy simply just by being present. So your energy field being in a place that's going through something is a stabilizer, whether or not you're even being intentional about that. So that's kind of the beautiful thing about being an empath, is you are especially when you're having a high energy day where your frequency is really high, people can feel that. So, and it's very, very healing for them. So that's a really beautiful thing. But here's the truth that changes everything, is that feeling energy is not the same as carrying energy. And this is where most empaths will get tripped up. So your gift is perception, not absorption. So you want to be able to perceive the energy of a room or of a person or whatever, an entity, without actually absorbing it. So that is the gift. You want to be able to feel it, not absorb it. You're meant to sense energy, not store it in your body, your nervous system, or your emotional field. So when an empath doesn't know this, sensitivity starts to feel like a huge burden, not because it is, but because it's being used unconsciously. Let's talk about the difference then between feeling energy versus carrying energy, because this is really huge and something that takes many, many years for a lot of empaths to master. And it's really, really important. So let's slow this down, because again, this distinction is everything. When you walk into a room and immediately feel tension, that's awareness. When you leave that room feeling drained, irritated, heavy, or off, that's unprotected energy exchange. So feeling the energy is information, which we can all use. We love getting information, but carrying the energy is depletion. That's leaking your energy. That's allowing things into your field that aren't serving you. So that is not something you want to do. And most empaths never learn how to close these energetic loops. So energy comes in from something or someone external to you, and it doesn't leave. This is why so many empaths will say, I feel like I'm carrying everyone else's stuff, or I don't know what's mine and what's not, or I feel tired after social interactions. That is huge for me. I wouldn't say I have social anxiety so much as I do just, I don't like being in big, busy places a lot, because I end up, if I'm very guilty of this. I do not protect my energy before I say go to a big shopping mall or something. And I'm there for an hour and I'm like, wow, I really can't do this anymore. This is just too much. That's because my energy is kind of being siphoned off of just the environment that I'm in. And I'm sure you can feel that too, how many of us, like empathic people, don't want to go to big social interactions because they just are simply so exhausted. It takes a day or two even sometimes to recover from that. That is not isolated to just you, and that is not random. That's because empathic people just get really exhausted after things like that. So again, that doesn't mean that you're too open. It means you're open without intention. That's the difference, is intention. So energy responds to consciousness. And when there's no directive on what to do with energy, uh, uh, being you telling your energy like, hey, we're sovereign, don't, leak and don't let anything in. If you don't have that intention, your field is going to default to receptivity and taking on other stuff that isn't yours. And it's not a flaw. That's just kind of the default. So it's undeveloped mastery of this beautiful skill that we have. Okay, so let's dive a little bit deeper into why empaths get drained. I already talked about social situations, but there's actually some really specific reasons beneath the surface as to why the draining is occurring. So there's a few very specific energetic reasons. And one reason is this thing called unconscious merging. So your field is blending with others instead of just observing them. So instead of just, for example, hearing your friend and cry about something they're going through and just being there for them, you're actually unintentionally like taking on that energy as though it's yours. So that's unconscious merging. A second reason is could be responsibility for the emotional space. So you feel like it's your job to hold harmony, calm, or comfort, and you take things on that aren't yours to carry. So this example earlier that I brought up with the files is, for example, with social media right now, and even the news, at least for me anyway, it feels like I can't look anywhere without seeing something absolutely disturbing and just gut-wrenching. And if you don't have those energetic boundaries as you read these stories or even just like come across headlines, you will unintentionally absorb the energy of that. And what people are feeling when they read these kinds of things, like it just has an energetic signature to it. And it's simply just too much for one person to do alone. And this will drain you. So that is something just like having this, again, responsibility for the emotional space. Again, not intentional, but something we're doing if we're not being intentional about our energy. So, and then a third reason that why you might be getting drained as an empath would be staying energetically open much longer after an interaction ends. So that energy is going to linger. Another, again, going back to the example with a friend, like maybe you're not talking to them anymore about their sadness, but you're feeling the sadness with them in the moment. And then when you walk away, you're still feeling that sadness for whatever they're going through. That's just staying energetically open too long after the fact. So many empaths learned early on that openness was safe, right? Like, why would you want to be open? Well, early on, openness is safe. It's being aware is helping them anticipate, help, or avoid conflict. Like a lot of empaths are helpers. They want to help people and, help avoid conflict and things like that. They sense things and they're like, oh, let's push this in a better direction rather than where I know this is going. But empathetic ability without this sovereignty that we're going to talk about leads to burnout. And being empathetic does not mean you're available to everyone. It means you are discerning. And energetic discernment is a skill and one that you can develop. So now that we know what being an empath is and all the ways that it can start to kind of leech your energy and not serve you in a good way, let's talk about energetic protection, which is the core reason why I'm even recording this episode today. What is actually going to help you as an empath? Energy protection is not about shielding yourself from the world. It's about strengthening and containing your own field. So think of it like this. A strong energy field doesn't leak. And conversely, it doesn't absorb indiscriminately from other people or things. It stays coherent like a sealed bubble. So imagine your field or your aura just around your body. You have a bubble all the way around you. And there's no way in and there's no way out. Your energy stays yours and the energy outside of it doesn't come in through that bubble. So that's the ideal scenario for your energy, is that you can be available and you have your energy accessible to you, but you are not taking on things that are going to take from you or, suck the good energy away from you. So that is what I'm talking about when I say an energy field that doesn't leak. And then talking about energetic containment, something that, you need to be doing at the start of your day. I would recommend you don't just hop to scrolling your social media or news feeds, as this is kind of going to start your day off on this kind of panic mode, especially if you're not really in control of your empathic abilities yet. This is something that's going to set the tone in not a really great way. So I'm not saying you can't read social media or the news in the morning. It's just start with this thing, that I'm about to talk about first thing before you do that, and that to get your energy sovereign, and then go from there. So anyway, start your day by gently drawing your awareness inward, and you're not shrinking or closing your energy off. You're just centering yourself. So have this awareness of yourself. And then, so right when you wake up and get this inner awareness, it's important to then set an intention for your day. This can be anything along these lines, but here are some examples I'm going to give you, things you can silently say to yourself. So you have your eyes closed, maybe you've done some deep breathing and you just draw your awareness inward and you say, it is my intention that my energy remains fully with me today. Or my energy is grounded, contained, and sovereign. Or I am fully in my own energy and only my own. My energy stays centered in my body and my field. Or I move through the day connected to myself, not absorbing others. And again, you don't have to say any of these. Say whatever resounds best with you, or whatever that is for you. You can pick one of these, that'd be great. But the whole point being is that this single intention changes how your field is going to interact with the world. Like as soon as you say something and set an intention, just know that it's done and it's being taken care of for you. The universe can't really hop in and intervene with your life unless you give it specific permission to. So this is you giving the universe permission to basically keep your energy sovereign. So it's just important you do that and do it every single day. And we all get busy and forget stuff. And sometimes I'm off to the races first thing when I wake up. So I'm guilty of not doing this every single day. But the days that I remember doing this are so much easier and better for me in an energetic way than if I don't do it. So it's really like something that I need to get a lot more strict about adding to my routine, because it's really important to do this. I really only do try to call my energy back to me when it's already been affecting me for too many days. And the reality is I don't need to be waiting that long. I can do this every day and it won't be a problem, right? So the more habitual you can be about this, the better off you're going to be. So then let's talk about grounding, because yes, you can set your energy intention for the day, but sometimes things happen and you just need to get centered again. And maybe again, you're leaving that shopping mall and you're like, wow, I've got nothing left in me. I am all over the place. I'm scattered. Grounding is something that you can do to center your energy again and reclaim it for yourself. So empaths the reason this happens is because empaths get drained when energy stays in the upper body or chakras, you could say. So what you're going to do is bring your energy down, feel your feet, feel your legs. Imagine roots growing out of the soles of your feet all the way down, anchoring you to the core of the earth. Like literally visualize this root system going down through all the layers of the earth and anchoring into the core of the earth. That simple visualization is all you need to do to feel grounded. Some people even like to grab a handful of salt and wash their hands with it. That's also a very grounding thing. It kind of cleanses the energy. That's helpful. I do keep some salt by my sink for this reason, and it really does help kind of calm the energy if things are getting a little crazy. And the reason you do this is because grounded empaths feel less overwhelmed because the energy has somewhere to go. And it's important to do this daily if you can too, or this is a really great thing to do in the moment though, like I said. See it like a lightning rod, right? Like it's literally directing the energy somewhere else outside of you. And it's very, very healing in that way. And here's a funny example of just how powerful our auric fields can be, especially when you're empathic, is that one time I was doing energy work with my aunt. She is a healer trained in EFT and body code and healing touch and things of that nature. And I went to her specifically because I was just anxious for no reason. And it was pretty constant at that time in my life. She said that after doing some work that basically my energetic field was open, and it was literally a 1 mile radius wide. My energy was at a constant 1 mile radius at any point in time. During that time in my life, I was living in an apartment downtown in a college town. So you can imagine how many people were in my energetic field at any given time. And I was so open to any and all energy in that area, which is not something great when you live in a party town and there is a lot happening in not just your apartment building, but like the 1 mile radius around you. Like I was absorbing so much stuff unintentionally. Like I didn't even need to have to know what was going on down the street for it to be affecting me because my energy field was just so open. So during that semester, I literally had to make myself ground myself every day. And that helped so much. And also doing EFT was something that was helpful, something we've talked about in a previous episode and quite a few episodes. That's pretty much always going to be a tool I recommend for people, is if your energy is just getting way out of whack and you don't really know how to name it or whatever, just a simple round of EFT is going to help calm you down. The other thing you're going to want to do is clearing after interactions, especially people that are very emotionally charged, right? So after being around people, just pause for 30 seconds and imagine any energy that isn't yours is gently releasing. Because that's something we have to do as empaths, is sometimes if you're feeling anxiety in your chest, like take a moment to just talk to your body. Like close your eyes and say, is this anxiety mine, or is this someone else's or some other kind of energy? And more often than not, if you can't identify what you're anxious about, it's not your anxiety. So this is something that you need to imagine, especially once you realize it's not your energy. Imagine that it's just gently releasing and falling away and returning back to source or wherever it belongs, just not with you. No analysis is required here. You just have to give it the permission to move and go away. So the last thing that I'll say is that having this intentional openness is before conversations or going into a new environment, set an intention, is that I observe energy without carrying it. Intention is this, again, a very powerful energetic directive. The universe cannot help you unless you give it specific permission what to do in certain situations. Being empathic is such a beautiful thing, and it's something that we need more and more in this world. And I'm so glad there's so many of us out there. But so you want to have this openness of like observing energy and being able to name it and know what to do with it, but you don't want to carry it. I know women who are so empathic that when they are just simply doing like a reading on someone else, they are crying just because the energy that they're feeling from the other person of anxiety or whatever is so intense for them that it brings them to tears. And so it's like, what a beautiful thing to be able to identify with somebody on that level, but that is just not something you should be carrying with you. So really important, again, to make sure you identify what is yours and what isn't. What is yours? Maybe that's something you need to work on, EFT, other things. But if it is not yours, imagine it, again, literally falling away. I'm going to leave you with a guided energetic practice. So something that we can do together, which is take a slow breath in through your nose and then let it out through your mouth in an open mouth sigh. And then bring awareness to your body. And feel where you're supported, which is maybe you're sitting on a chair, you're standing on a floor, or the earth beneath you. And imagine your energy gently drawing inward, this coherent, whole, and sovereign energy. Now imagine a soft boundary around your field, and it's not rigid, it's not closed, it's just clear. And imagine that anything that isn't yours doesn't stick. It just passes through your field. It absolutely doesn't interact with you. It just passes right through like a ghost through a wall. And take another breath and say silently to yourself, I am open, grounded, and sovereign. And just let that settle. And do something like that every day. Like I said, it's not a one and done here. Every day is an energetic challenge for all of us. So you're definitely going to want to do something that is grounding or directing your energy or claiming your energetic sovereignty every single day. So here's something that I want you to remember in closing, is that your sensitivity is not the problem. Despite what you've been told in your life, your sensitivity is not the problem here. Your empathy is not the issue, and you were never meant to dim yourself. You're perfect exactly how you are, exactly how you were born. And you came here because you were meant to master your energy. So as this season continues, we'll keep deepening into intuitive clarity, energetic sovereignty, and embodied power. And again, if this episode resonated with you and you'd like support learning how to work with your empathetic gifts without depletion, I would invite you to a complimentary 20-minute connection call where there's a link in my show notes for it. But if nothing else, until next time, honor your sensitivity, protect your field, and trust what you feel. I'm Audra, and thank you again for listening. I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.